a 10 to 20 minute training session to your learners in your identified unit of competency. Well, you've done that a few times, and not only 20 minutes, you've also done 40 minutes. So you've already delivered in event 4. That was a 15-minute session. Event 5 was a 20-minute session. Event 6 a 40-minute, and event 7 another 40 minutes. Okay, so this is why LLN part 3 or event 3 was left until now, because now that you've delivered some sessions, you can go ahead and complete the following. First part, or part 1, or part 2, sorry, is evaluate the effectiveness of any delivery strategies that you may have used in your deliveries. Seek feedback from the candidates involved in the training where possible. But more importantly, use the tables below to collate your findings. So you need to pick on 2 learners and provide their names. List their role within the training. In other words, what was their role within the learning session that you delivered? And provide some of the feedback, and you would have got plenty by now, in regards to your delivery. And as the sample here, your candidate or your 2 learners may indicate that they understood the content and felt the instructions were clear and easy to follow. And that's why I'm saying when you give each other feedback, try and also look at an area of improvement if you can. Provide that to your the person delivering. Remember, you did some in part 2 of your LLN. We talked about specialist support where that may be required. When would that be required, guys? Do you remember?
After we got the diagnostic test back, and we decided that someone needed, a little bit of extra tuition in English, or they might need to have a hearing disability.
Yep.
We have to address those before we start the class.
Excellent. So you've already got information, that you've provided information on the various types of LLN specialist support that you can access. Just give an example for one here that may have been used for that learner, and it may be something that you may make up or get from a previous task that you may have completed. So, for example, you may want to actually quote where that LLN support may have come from, or you see here, there's that video resource and library that can also be accessed by LLN students or candidates to help them with their LLN skills. Do you guys remember covering this off in an earlier? It would have been task 2.
I don't.
No?
Briefly though.
Okay. Go back to your notes.
Send us this, Ben, just for reference.
Yeah, I will. No problem. And this more or less covers the LLN support that you need to think about that may be applicable to your 2 learners. Now here you need to review your instructional strategy that would be LLM based, and there's two strategies that you need to outline. And I've got in the right hand side here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 there. You just need to apply 2 that you want to review, yeah? So it could be providing templates. That's one strategy to assist students with LLM. So form templates, a few of you have done that, used forms in your presentations. Modifying resources to include larger text, maybe subtitles, maybe images. Most of you have used the chunking into breaking it down into sections and segments. A lot of you have used technology to enhance your sessions through presentation. Another strategy may be to allow for more time in regards to the learning. And another strategy is using someone else to co-deliver, an LLM specialist to co-deliver. There's a few other strategies. It's in your student workbook, but there's 6 there that you may need or you may want to choose from, and all you need to do is apply 2. So 1 and 2, and then respond to the questions provided. And I've got examples here, yeah, for you to have a look at. And then assessment strategies, this is where you may be evaluating their performance. So there's a whole list of assessment strategies that can be applied here. What can be applied if you're assessing them in their knowledge or their skill, when you're actually looking at their performance and judging on their performance? What sort of strategies can you apply to help someone that may have LLM issues?
Asks dedicated, and strategic questions. Internal interview.
Good. Oops. Ask questions. Yep. What else can we do? Observation on the job is another technique, or observation while they're actually on the job is another strategy, because they're more comfortable in their own environment. Verbally, you're right, Jennifer, asking the question verbally rather than giving them a written quiz to complete. There's a second strategy. Giving them ample time or more time than normal to complete their task. So instead of, yep, it'll take them 3 minutes, you give them 5 minutes, because you give them that extra time to complete the task or the quiz or the knowledge type question. What other strategies can you use in the assessment part of it to help someone with LLM issues?
What about a scribe, Ben? Are you allowed to ask?
Excellent. Yes, a scribe taking notes. Beautiful. Beautiful. And I've got more examples here. Do you remember what a formative assessment approach is? As opposed to
giving them one exam at the end of the training, and instead of the summarising type, yeah.
You're nearly there.
A summative approach is when you give them assessments on the way through the program. Isn't a formative, you get the assessment right at the end of the training session.
It's probably the other way around.
Oh, the other way around. Yeah, I meant, yeah, turn that around 180 degrees, and that's...
There you go. So
at the end, formative is as you go along.
Yeah, good. And a formative assessment is something that is more appealing to someone that has LLM issues. I mean, the worst thing you can do for someone that has struggles with reading and writing is to give them a huge exam at the end. That's in written format. So doing progressive assessments along the way is certainly a strategy. Observing them on the job. So in other words, after they've practiced, after you've shown and demonstrated, getting them to go back to their workplace and practice under supervision. Providing extra time, using verbal questions instead of written, and getting someone to scribe that person's answers. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strategies. You need to pick 2. You need to pick 2 that would have been applied. And for most of you, you would have done some observation on the job, even though it was simulated. It's still observing and giving them feedback. So you're not just watching and making a judgment, then walking away. You're actually observing and providing feedback progressively. You're delivering the learning in chunks and evaluating their performance at the end of each section. And you're asking verbal questions rather than formal written replies.